Good afternoon to everyone that is viewing this video. Another thing that I am going to talk about today is people of different nationalities and different ethnicities. I just am going to give my own opinion about everything, and I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to offend anyone, but this is just my honest opinion about things. First of all, why is it that when someone of a brown skin color, or that someone that is just of a color that is either brown, dark, or even light brown, are all considered black? Because that's something that just does not sit well with me. You cannot place everyone in a category and just call everyone black. Because just because you have a brown skin tone, that doesn't consider you African American, and that doesn't consider you black. There are Indonesians, there are Indians, there are even Puerto Ricans that have the same skin tone that I do. So does that mean that they're African American? No. And this is the same thing with Dominicans, because there was a video that was viral about Dominicans, how a lot of Dominicans don't consider themselves black. Well, I'm the kind of person to where I'm not going to try to argue something that I don't know much about, because I'm not going to make myself look stupid. But at the same time, I feel like people's nationalities and where people's heritage stems from, I feel like they should be respected for just that and not just have a label just put on them. Because it's like we live in a society and we live in a world to where people only see things in black and white. You know, they don't see anything else. Even back in the slavery days, when a lot of the blacks and when a lot of those people were slaves back in the slavery days, it's like they were all considered just one thing. But just because they were all considered black in the slavery days, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're black. That's not going to change the fact on where their original roots stemmed from. So why do people sit there and call someone black, especially if they're really not black? You know, if someone tells me that they're Dominican, I'm going to look at them as Dominican. I'm not going to call them black. I'm not going to call them African American. I'm not going to call them something that they're not. That's just my own opinion. You know, there's people walking around here now that has brown skin tone, but they're not black. You know, there could be someone that comes from a different country that has a brown skin tone, and they could be from a completely different nationality. So does that necessarily mean that they're black? Does that mean that their ethnicity is African American? No, that does not mean that. Take me, for example. I was born to a biracial mother and father. My ancestors are Native American. They're not African American. My ancestors are Native American. We even have pictures of my great-grandfather and my grandfather on our wall in our house. So that's where my roots stem from, because my ancestors are Native American, even though I was born to a mother that is biracial. She's black, white, and Indian. My dad is black, and I forgot what else he had in him. But anyway, so does that make me African American? No, it does not. So, but it doesn't mean that I'm not calling myself black. I just don't consider myself African American because that is not where I come from. But you have people that automatically assume that you're African American just because you have a brown skin tone. And that's not right. People's People's heritage needs to be respected, you know. And anyway, I don't even understand why it even matters to people why their like where their roots stem from anyway. I don't even understand why it matters to people. Like, you just can't sit there and just be like, no, you're black. You're black and you need to face the fact that you're black. No, you can't tell people that. You can't just put a label on somebody like that, because that's not true. You just cannot put a label on somebody. I'm not going to walk around and call myself African American because I know that I'm not African American. None of my ancestors are African American. So why would I claim something that's not me, or that's not in my blood, or that is not in my culture? Well, I know where my real culture originates from. So stop calling people African American that is not African American. Dominicans. I don't believe that Dominicans are African American. I believe that Dominicans come from a different culture. That's my own opinion. Even the high yellow black, the high yellow, like, blacks, you know, people look at them as black. Even if you're mixed with black and white, half and half, you're still considered black. You could have pale skin. You could come from a white father and a black mother, and you could look as white as you can be, but yet you could have brown hair, and they'll be like, oh, he black, if you say so, you know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why can't we all just be a regular human race without always trying to label something and put something on other people? Why can't we just all just be a normal human race? Does it really matter? Honestly, I don't think that it does. I really don't think it does. And it shouldn't matter. But other people want it to matter when it really shouldn't. So that's just my whole opinion on that. It just doesn't make any sense to me on why people want to do that. Because it kills me when I am out a lot and I hear people try to call somebody something that they are not. That really, really, really kills me. It just makes no sense to me. So because he looks white, you're going to claim him as white because you feel that he should be called white. No. You have no control over where people come from. No control. At all. That's just all I have to say about that. I'm not saying that black people don't come from different countries. I'm not saying that either. But all I'm saying is that people need to be respected for where their real culture lies.